Hello, this is César Elías Magdaleno. I am a student at Universidad Tecnológica de Chihuahua and I'm on the BIS unit. I am going to talk about today about the processes to change the shape of materials. The subject is manufacturing processes too. I'm going to talk about forming, hydroforming, forging, extrusion, punching, and stamping. First, we have forming. Forming or metal forming is the metal working process of fashioning metal parts and objects through mechanical deformation. The workpiece is reshaped without adding or removing material, and its mass remains unchanged. Forming operates on the materials science principle of plastic deformation, where the physical shape of a material is permanently deformed. As well, we are going to see some of the characteristics of forming. Metal forming tends to have more uniform characteristics across its sub-processes than its contemporary processes, cutting and joining. On the industrial scale, forming is characterized by very high loads and stresses requires between 50 and 2,500 newtons square millimeter. It requires as well large, heavy, and expensive machinery in order to accommodate such high stress and loads. Production runs with many parts to maximize the economy of production and compensate for the expense of the machine tools. As well, we have an example on a piece made by forming. Here we have a metal, or some other times could be plastic, tray commonly used to place different types of food. As well, we have hydroforming. It's a specialist type of die forming that uses a high pressure hydraulic fluid to press room temperature working material into a die. To hydroform aluminum into a vehicle's frame rail, a hollow tube of aluminum is placed inside of negative mold that has the shape of the desired result. High-pressure hydraulic pumps then inject fluid at very high pressure inside the aluminum tube, which causes it to expand until it matches the mold. The hydroformed aluminum is then removed from the mold. Hydroforming allows complex shapes with concavities to be formed, which would be difficult or impossible with standard solid die stamping. Hydroformed parts can often be made with a higher stiffness to weight ratio and at a lower per unit cost than traditional stamped and welded parts. Virtually all metals capable of cold forming can be hydroformed, including aluminum, brass, carbon, and stainless steel, copper, and high-strength alloys. Two examples of hydroforming would be on the automotive industry, okay, for such parts as metal covers to cover the exhaust system and as well the exhaust system itself. Forging is a manufacturing process involving the shaping of metal using localized compressive forces. The blows are delivered with a hammer, often a power hammer, or a die. Forging is often classified according to the temperature at which it is performed. Cold forging. This is a type of cold working. We also have a warm forging or hot forging. This is a type of hot working. For the latter two, the metal is heated, usually in a forge. Forge parts can range in weight from less than a kilogram to hundreds of metric tons. Forging has been done by smiths for millennia. The traditional products were kitchenware, hardware, hand tools, edge weapons, symbols, and jewelry. Since the Industrial Revolution, forged parts are widely used in mechanisms and machines wherever a component requires high strength. Such forging usually require further processing, such as machining, to achieve a finished part. Today, forging is a major worldwide industry. A pretty common example of forging would be how it's used on the constructions industry for different shapes on oversized screws. Extrusion is a process used to create objects of a fixed cross-sectional profile. A material is pushed through a die of the desired cross-section. The two main advantages of this process over other manufacturing processes are its ability to create very complex cross-sections and to work materials that are brittle, because the material only encounters compressive and shear stress. It also forms part of with an excellent surface finish. Extrusion may be continuous theoretically, producing indefinitely long material, or semi-continuous, producing many pieces. The extrusion process can be done with the material hot or cold. Commonly extruded materials include metals, polymers, ceramics, concrete, modeling clay, and foodstuff. The products of extrusion are generally called extrudates. For example, it is used on metal aluminum window frames, being a pretty rentable business opportunity. As well, we have punching. Punching is a forming process that uses a punch press to force a tool, called a punch, through the workpiece to create a hole by shearing. Punching is applicable to a wide variety of materials that come in sheet form, including sheet metal, paper, vulcanized fiber, and some forms of plastic sheet. The punch often passes through the work into a die. A scrap slug from the hole is deposited into the die in the process. Depending on the material being punched, this slug might be recycled and reused or discarded. Punching is often the cheapest method for creating holes in sheet materials in medium to high production volumes. When a specially shaped punch is used to create multiple usable parts from a sheet of material, the process is known as blanking. In metal forging applications, the work is often punched while hot, and this is called hot punching. Slugging is the operation of punching in which punch is stopped as soon as the metal fracture is complete and metal is not removed but held in whole. The most popular examples are most parts of a car, such as doors, fenders, hoods, and trunks. Finally, we have stamping, also known as pressing. Is the process of placing flat sheet metal in either blank or coil form into a stamping press where a tool and die surface forms the metal into a net shape. Stamping includes a variety of sheet metal forming manufacturing processes, such as punching using a machine press or stamping press, blanking, embossing, bending, flanging, and coining. This could be a single stage operation where every stroke of the press produces the desired form on the sheet metal part, or it could occur through a series of stages. The process is usually carried out on sheet metal, but can also be used on other materials such as polystyrene. Stamping is usually done on cold metal sheet. Some of the most common examples of stamping will be many engine gaskets, which are manufactured by stamping material into the wanted shape to prevent oil leaks from coming out of the engine by holding this piece in between two metal parts that will be pressed against each other with either screws or some other form of pressure. The gasket will be placed right in the middle and will eradicate any leak oils in the future. Thank you for so much for taking the time to listen to this presentation. This has been César Elías Magdaleno from Universidad Tecnológica de Chihuahua. I hope this helps you guys, okay, in the near future, and I hope you have yourself a great either day or night. Thank you.